Do you get it when you feel really hungry and you get that food, but after you eat the food, you feel tired, you feel sleepy? Today we call it a food coma. I'm going to talk to you today about how I apply nutrition in my life to improve my energy levels through blood glucose control. If you can control your blood glucose, you'll be faster on your feet, you'll have better reaction times, you can contribute more to conversations with people, you'll be a better person in the group, you'll get more done, you'll be able to achieve your dreams easier. Life is just easier in general when you can control your blood glucose levels. And most people fail at doing this because they don't actually know how to control their blood glucose, but it's fairly easy. And what I'm going to show you today is something that a few people do know, and by applying it, they actually get very good results in life. You can take what I'm teaching you today, you can share it with somebody, or you can keep it to yourself, but either way, what you learn here will change your life. Now let's get started. So, your body has two primary sources of fuel. You can either run off carbohydrates or you can run off fats. Now, carbohydrates are needed in the body to a degree. Your brain runs off glucose, but too much can be bad. And we'll talk about that why in a second. Now, your other source of fuel is fats. You might have heard of a ketogenic diet. That is where your body is running off primarily fats. When you are born in a state of ketosis. That's where your body uses ketones instead of glucose to make your body function. Now, the way I like to describe it is, so there's carbohydrates and there's fats. Carbohydrates are like dirty diesel, and fat is like clean electricity. Imagine you're a car, you're running off two different things. Now, I'm not going to say carbohydrates are the enemy. They are needed to a degree, and they're absolutely essential if you're doing any form of sports. You don't need them, but it makes life a lot easier, and it makes life a lot better as well. But it's too much that can be bad. And so let's explain why. So, two things to note at this point is blood glucose and ketosis. So, blood glucose. Whenever you eat carbohydrates, so that's like pasta, that's rice, fruit, any form of sugar, any bakery goods, then it goes into your mouth, down your throat, your esophagus, into your stomach, past your duodenum, into your small intestine, and then your body is absorbing it there, and it will release sugar into your blood. Your pancreas will release a hormone called insulin. And what insulin does is it carries sugar from your bloodstream to every single cell inside your body, from your toes to your scalp. But you can abuse this hormone called insulin. When you eat carbohydrates too much, when you eat way too many carbs, then your body is going to release a lot of insulin, and your cells will eventually start rejecting the insulin because they have enough energy. They don't need more. And this is called insulin resistance. What does insulin resistance do? Insulin resistance is the onset for type 2 diabetes, which will lead to heart disease and also Alzheimer's. There's a number of other diseases as well that insulin resistance leads to, but it's not good. And the thing is, when you're running off carbohydrates, you become very reliant on carbohydrates as well. Instead of having high blood sugar from insulin resistance, when you have low blood sugar instead, then you have no energy. So that's where you start to get hangry, you need food, you can't think properly. So either end of the spectrum, when you have high blood sugar, you start to get brain fog, and then it's the onset for a lot of diseases. And then low blood sugar, you just can't think properly. So either end of the spectrum isn't very good. So you want to keep it somewhere in the middle where it's optimal. Now let's talk about ketosis. So ketosis is where your body is running off fats. And the good thing about ketosis is you don't have to eat it. So you can eat fat, but your body is carrying around 50,000, 100,000 plus calories every single day. That's what your body fat is. Your body fat is food. In fact, your body fat stores nutrients as well. Your body fat will store nutrients and chemicals and toxins. Whatever you eat in the fats will be stored in your fat. But in general, ketosis is a very clean form of energy. If you've ever been in a state of ketosis, then you just feel very clean. Your brain, so instead of having these blood sugar spikes where you go up and down, it's like you have a consistent source of energy throughout the day. Your brain functions very well. Things are good. And I said earlier that your body needs glucose for the brain, but when you're in a state of ketosis, you can actually turn fats and protein from your muscles into glucose through glucogenesis. And so you can actually get glucose through your brain whilst in a state of ketosis. So there's two states your body can be in. You can either be burning carbohydrates or you can be in a state of ketosis. And you're always in one or the other to a small degree anyway. But ketosis also isn't a silver bullet. If you stay in ketosis for a long time, then you'll start craving carbohydrates. You'll start to get very stressed out. I've done it for months at a time, and what you end up finding is the ice cream becomes very easy to eat, and all that is your body telling you you need some carbohydrates. So it's a fine balance. You don't want too many carbohydrates, and you don't want to stay in ketosis too long. So I'll tell you what I do, and this is how I get my best energy levels throughout the day. I start my day off by fasting. In the beginning of the day, I won't eat until about 11 or 12, sometimes 1, sometimes 2. Sometimes I have breakfast, but in general, I don't eat breakfast. I eat my first thing about 12 o'clock on average every single day. I have a coffee in the morning. And that means, the reason for that is because when you wake up, your body increases cortisol. That's how you wake up. Your body releases cortisol, which is a stress hormone, to wake you up. And this will release loads of insulin, which is the hormone I told you about earlier, so that it can take glucose from your bloodstream around your body. And the reason that's happening is because your body starts to catabolize your muscles to create glucose. So when you wake up in the morning, you already have high blood sugar. And so if you start eating straight away, you're just going to add on top of that high blood sugar. So you'll just make your high blood sugar even higher. So it doesn't make sense to eat straight away in the beginning of the day. You don't need to either. What you'll find is if you stop eating breakfast, at the beginning, you might find it difficult, but after about 2 weeks or so, you'll adjust very quickly and you'll have better energy levels. A number of people that do a form of intermittent fasting, they'll say it's because they experience better energy levels during the morning. And the reason for that is because of blood glucose control. Now, at lunchtime, if I was to eat a meal that was heavy in carbohydrates, then suddenly I'll be activating my blood glucose, and initially I would feel quite good, but I would likely crash depending on the amount of carbs I eat. So to just negate this altogether, I don't eat carbs during my lunchtime. Right now, what I'm eating for lunch is I'm having about 10 eggs. Eggs are incredibly nutritious. And this keeps my energy levels just consistent. It just keeps going. Straight line energy. and I can think, I can perform, I can do my work, I can reply in conversations, I can take part in conversations. It honestly is like a really good trick. We all see superheroes. We see superheroes online, they got these incredible abilities, and the way I like to think about it is the closest thing you can get to superpowers is being able to control your body through what you eat. And this is one of the things that you can do. So fast in the morning, and then during lunchtime, if you eat very low carbs, almost a ketogenic meal, then you'll keep your blood glucose under control. And then come around dinner time. So dinner, I'll eat carbs. I'll eat anywhere between 60 grams to 150 grams of carbohydrates, which in general isn't a lot anyway. It's fairly low. I'll average about 100 grams of carbohydrates. I'll probably eat about sweet potatoes. I'll eat pumpkin, squash, sometimes rice. And this does it for me. I've been keeping my blood sugar low all day, and so when I eat these carbohydrates at the end of the day, then I'm not going to have a crazy spike because my body's ready now, instead of constantly topping up more and more sugar in my blood. And this is how you control your energy levels, or rather, this is how I control my energy levels. It's incredibly effective. So what can you do to control your energy levels and blood glucose? I've got 3 tips plus one bonus at the end, which I haven't actually seen many people talking about online, but makes a huge difference. The first thing is intermittent fasting. For the reasons I explained to you earlier, when you wake up, you'll have high cortisol and you'll have higher blood glucose anyway, and you don't want to be adding on top of that. If you stop eating, then your energy levels will balance out and you'll feel very clean. I'll be making a video about intermittent fasting soon. I won't talk about it here. But yeah, so the first thing is intermittent fasting. The second thing is having low carbohydrates and high fat during your first meal. So that might be a meal that you eat avocado and eggs and bacon, or you might have some salmon with some eggs and cooking everything in grass-fed butter, maybe coconut oil. You want to stay away from seed oils. Seed oils aren't good. So in general, you want to use animal fats, or you can use a little bit of extra virgin olive oil or coconut oil. If you have your lunch like that, then you'll be fine. Or you can even choose to skip lunch. You can fast even further. I've done that. It's called OMAD, 1 meal a day. And I've been doing it for a couple of years. I do it on and off. I don't do it at the moment, but during some times I might eat only 1 meal a day, and my energy levels during the day are absolutely fantastic. I'm sharp, I'm really fast, I get loads of work done, I can focus really well, and I'm just more present in every conversation. As I said earlier, the closest thing you have to superpowers is being able to control how you feel through your food, because your food manipulates your energy levels and it manipulates your hormones, which is what drugs do. And so you are literally a junkie by being able to control the foods you eat. So anyway, that's the second one. It's eating low carb, high fat during your lunch. And then the third one is increasing your muscle mass. And the reason for that is your muscle is a glucose sink. And what I mean by a glucose sink is the more muscle that you build, the more places you have to store glucose. Your muscle requires glucose to fill it up. It's energy expensive tissue. So you often hear, or you can see bodybuilders, they get away with eating more of the wrong foods or other things. And you think, why can they get away with that? Well, this is the reason why, because your muscle requires more nutrients to function. It's a sink. So the more muscle you grow, then the more you can get away with. It's that simple. Even after a workout, you can have straight dextrose, glucose, banana, some form of carbohydrate, and you'll get away with it very easily without affecting your energy levels. And so I'd recommend going to the gym, lift weights. If you're doing any form of long cardio, running, anything like that, your muscles are going to get smaller. So you want big muscles. Girls as well. The number one, what's the word I'm looking for? Protest? Number one objection to gaining muscle for women is that you're going to get big and bulky, but that's not true. If you look in a gym, you see how many guys are actually getting big and bulky. It's the ones who try. So if you really try, you can put on some muscle, and muscle on women is sexy. So don't worry about it. Make sure to put on muscle. You'll look really good. Guys as well, put on muscle. You'll look very good for the ladies. Some ladies say they don't like muscle, but it's not true. Women do love muscle. Increase your muscle mass and you'll be able to control your energy levels better. Anyway, I said I had a bonus one as well. So this bonus is avoid having high carb, high fat meals together. And what I mean by that is, for example, let's say you're having this really nice rice dish and then you think, oh, I'm trying to put in loads of calories. Let's put in loads of butter inside it as well. What's actually going to end up happening is you're going to end up getting very high blood sugar because fats and sugars compete in your blood to be metabolized. And if you have, what I'd suggest in that case is just have a high carb, low fat meal, or have a low carb, high fat meal. But if you have a high carb, high fat meal, you're going to have very high blood sugar. And that's where you get to the point where you can't think properly. You're not able to function properly. It's choose one or the other. Anyway, apply these in your life how you wish. I hope you got some value from this. And here's another video you can watch now.